Hello, 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 everyone. It's your girl, Erica Janelle. I am here to give you some career coaching advice. So, this is just going to be a short little sample of some of what you will get if you join my coaching program. If you have not heard of my coaching program, please feel free to visit www.ericajanelle.com. That is where you guys will see my coaching program. So I will spell it for you. It's www.ericajanelle.com. That is where I have all my coaching programs. This is going to be something that I'm going to be offering for my coaching members. For those of you that sign up for your different types of coaching, I offer life coaching, business coaching, and career coaching. So this video is specifically about career coaching. So what qualifies me to be a career coach? Well, as a young lady, I started working probably before I was legally able to work, but officially working at the age of 14 in summer jobs, and then 15 all the way to 16 when I was legally able to work. I started, doing just regular jobs. Actually, not a regular job. Many of you don't know this, but I started working at the Fudgery, which is where the group Drew Hill got discovered. And we actually knew each other. We actually did some, I sang, around them. Their manager was my manager. You guys probably don't know that. But yes, and so I started there. But when I got married at 18, very young. And when I moved away with my ex-husband, who was in the military at the time, I did not have a whole lot of skills. I was in college, had taken some classes. Actually, I started college the day after I graduated high school. Little go-getter like that. But anyway, and so I was, I didn't have a lot of practical skills. I was learning what I needed to learn in college, but didn't have a whole lot of administrative skills and things like that. And I knew I needed to start at the bottom. So my very first job was a receptionist, answering phones and directing calls to different people, and with the switchboards. And so that job, I knew I didn't want to do that. I knew I had too much in me to do that for the rest of my life. So eventually I took some time to research. I would rent some library books and even bought some books online on Microsoft Office. And I taught myself how to use Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft PowerPoint, Access, what was the other one that we used to use? Publisher. So I used all of those. I taught myself how to use those Microsoft programs so that I could become an administrative assistant. So I graduated from receptionist. Oops, sorry, I'm off camera. I graduated from receptionist to now being administrative assistant. And so I was an administrative assistant for several years. Also had a job as a customer service rep because I've always been really good with customers. And worked in customer service, working at the Fudgery and some of the other jobs I had when I was younger. So I was good at that. So I was doing customer service. I had administrative skills at that point. Then I became like an executive assistant. So the executive assistant was managing the calendar of the executives. It was doing a lot of different other things. But while I was an executive assistant, I had made a decision, and this was in my probably mid-20s, like maybe 23, 24. I was like, you know what? I think I really want to go and pursue human resources because I always had a passion for people. I wanted to either be in human resources or a therapist. And so I went into human resources because I wanted to actually provide practical opportunities for people to get work, because I knew how hard it was to get a nice job and to get a job for a lot of people, especially if you have a background or if you come from certain areas of disadvantage or if you didn't have transportation. So I wanted to be in a position to help people. That's always been my heart. And so was in school. I was an assistant at that point. Continued being an assistant for many years, and then started going to school for HR, and then started looking while I was working as an assistant, looking for opportunities that were going to be afforded to me working as an assistant. And so in HR while I was still working as an assistant. And so what I did was I ended up going to some staffing agencies, and they were the first people that gave me my opportunity to work in human resources. And so I signed up with this staffing agency, and I was what they call a staffing coordinator, which is probably one of the first initial HR positions you would have. And so I was a staffing coordinator. I used to staff for this business that would be run first, second, and third shift. So it was always a high turnover for those that worked on third shift because they had to work in a freezer. So it was a really hard job to continue to have good quality employees. And so I excelled in that job. Like it came easy to me. And then the manager of that particular branch, she noticed my hard work and gave me more responsibility and gave me the opportunity to kind of be like the office manager. So here I am now, a staffing coordinator / office manager. So now I'm getting even more experience. And then, at a certain point, I wanted more. And I still always knew I wanted to stay in that. So I was pretty much, I had finished my bachelor's degree at that point with my bachelor's in business with a concentration in human resource management. And then I was like, you know what? I really want to get my master's. And so I was kind of torn between project management and human resources. I took a couple of project management classes and hated it, and then realized that was not for me. So then I decided to do, sorry, my phone is ringing. I apologize. So then I decided to go away from project management and hone directly in on a master's in human resource management. So I switched my major to a master's in human resource management, but then I was like, but I really want a business degree. So then I took that master's degree in HR and enrolled double at the same time in an MBA. I know, it's crazy. So I was doing a master's in HR and an MBA at the same time. Because I wanted both. I always knew I wanted to do something in business. I just didn't quite know what. I wanted that business understanding and mindset, but then I also wanted that master's in HR because I really wanted to hone in on the skills that I needed in order to advance in my career. So fast forward, I became an HR assistant in the downtown Atlanta area for a very, very renowned architecture firm. They're architecture, engineering, design, and construction firm. So I worked for that firm as an HR assistant. And then I had finished my master's degree. And while I was getting my MBA, I was the class vice president. And they were like, hey, we're doing a what do we call it? I can't believe I can't think of the name. A test. So they were doing a test of the SHRM certification, because SHRM, which is the Society for Human Resource Management area where you can get certified. It's some credentials that look really good on your resume and also teach you a lot of the ins and outs of HR. And so they were like, hey, we're doing a pilot program because we're branching away from HRCI, which was where you would get certified before with the PHR. They were branching away from HRCI and starting their own certification program. And so they were like, hey, we would like to offer you this pilot exam for free. Here is the study material. And by the way, the test is tomorrow. So I literally had 24 hours to cram for the Society for Human Resource Management certification exam. And it was a pilot exam. So we were the guinea pigs. So took the exam that next morning, crammed the day before, ended up passing the first time. And I then had that SHRM certification. So with that SHRM certification, I then started asking on my job at this firm, hey, I'm really ready to kind of go into management. Here's my credentials. I've got this certification. I'm in the process of finishing up my master's degree. And at that point, I think I was going to be finished in like a couple of months. And so I said, once I get my MBA and my master's in HR, I want to be able to grow in my career. I don't want to just be I was a generalist. I went from assistant to generalist. And so she was like, okay, well, we'll look into you becoming a senior generalist. So then I became a senior generalist. And a senior generalist is kind of almost like a manager. It's a managerial role. It's like first level manager role. And I knew I wanted to become a manager. And at that time, then I knew I needed to actually relocate to kind of help my mom, take care of my grandfather. She was also going through some health issues. So I knew I needed to move back to Maryland. So I left that firm that I was making, a really good career transition in, to come back home. Oops, sorry for the camera shake. To come back home and help my mom out. And so that was a little bit challenging for me, but I did it. And then I ended up moving to Maryland, and it was right after my divorce. And then I was like, okay, let me go ahead and start putting myself, well, before I left Atlanta, I was calling around to some of the staffing agencies because they were the people that gave me my first opportunities in HR. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to move to Maryland. It's like a family emergency. I need to make sure I have something set up for myself. I left my job. I'm leaving my job, rather. It was before I left. I gave them notice to move back, and I need to have something set up for myself. I knew I was already going to do Lyft and Uber or whatever I had to do to make sure that me and my kids were good. And literally got here to Maryland 3 days later. The staffing agent called me back. She was like, hey, I just had an opportunity open up. And she was like, it's for this company, it's in this area, blah, blah, blah. They're looking, their HR assistant is leaving, they're looking for an assistant. So I knew I was a generalist, and I was like, okay, I don't want to be an HR assistant. I said, I need to be an HR manager. And I demanded it. And when I came in, I was an HR manager for that company. And then as the years progressed, I became a director of HR. And then as the years progressed, I moved on to this role that I'm in now as a VP of HR and working toward becoming the chief HR officer. So I say all of this to say, just because you start at the bottom doesn't mean that's where you have to end up. There should be a progression to your career. And what we do at Erica Janelle Coaching is give you those step-by-step instructions. With me having a strong HR background and strong HR education, I've been able to take my career and help other people climb the ladder. And so that's what Erica Janelle Coaching will do for you in the career coaching sector. So if you do not, again, already have access to my website, please join me at www.ericajanelle.com, and you can get to see my different coaching options. Again, that's www.ericajanelle.com. I'll talk to you guys soon for more coaching tips. All right, see you soon. Don't forget to sign up for our mailing list on ericajanelle.com. Thanks. Bye.